Hey everybody, this is Doomhammer with another update for Madden 32-team franchise week 5. So the Seattle Seahawks get their first win of the year, 35-24. We see Mike Glennon getting his first career win as a rookie with 310 yards and 3 touchdowns. We will see if he's able to keep this up during the year and maybe prevent the Seahawks from drafting one of the quarterbacks coming up in 2014. Lynch gets 101 yards, and we see Gillespie, who I think is a rookie. Yeah, he's the rookie they just traded away. They traded for. I don't remember if it was the Mario Williams trade or which trade it was, but this young player comes in to be a backup because we traded away Willis McGahee to the Cleveland Browns because obviously the Seahawks are losing, and I guess so are the Browns. Andy Dalton had 250 yards, 3 touchdowns, but those 2 turnovers were very costly. Mike Wallace, again, 175 yards and 3 touchdowns. The man has been on fire this season. I mean, yeah, 98 speed, 99 acceleration, 98 agility. Finally being utilized as he should, but that's 205, 79, 62, 129, and then 175. He is a beast this year, but unfortunately not enough to get the Arizona Cardinals to 4 wins. Seattle gets their first victory against their division rival. Then you got the Philadelphia Eagles coming away with a win over the Commanders, who fall to 1-4. Eagles are, I think, the 5th seed in the NFC, so they're right behind the Giants, who are 4-1 in their division. McNabb with a modest game, maybe even a weaker game. Gore, 52 yards. The rookie Bernard, 25. 2 touchdowns there for Gore. Whereas we see Mike Goodson with 169 yards, so a good rushing game for him. Even Vic got in there with 32 yards and a TD, but just was not enough to come away against the Philadelphia Eagles. Then we got the Patriots shockingly fall to the Jets, who really have been doing pretty well since I think they started out like 0-2, or they had like a weak start, but then they have bounced back since. Alex Smith with 292 yards and 5 touchdowns. Which is just crazy. But Brady throws 4 interceptions, which was a major downfall for the Patriots. Tried to force it a bit too much with him. But Clinton Portis went 139 yards, where Jamal Charles went 41. So when you don't have your running game, it's going to be a lot harder to win. Andre Johnson with 103 yards. But we see Brady spreading the ball around. We see Jarius Wright, the 6th man there, getting the second catches of the game with 53 yards. Clinton Portis, the running back, getting 50 yards in the air, but it was Percy Harvin with 3 of those 5 touchdown passes by Alex Smith to get the Jets to tie the Patriots at 3-2. Then this was a crazy game. The Steelers and the Browns were at it. The Browns were winning the game the majority of the time, and as the Steelers do in their normal fashion, found a way to come away with the victory. Roethlisberger threw 5 touchdown passes. We see a little bit of running back by committee. 75 yards for Lamar Miller, 25 for Tomlinson, and Todman 7. And Pittsburgh is now tied with the Baltimore Ravens for the division lead at 2-3. We see Emmanuel Sanders just burning and cutting up the Browns, 192 yards through the air. Crazy game for him. Browns, we see Anthony Gonzalez with 116 yards and 2 TDs. Browns fall to 1-4 with the backup Vince Young. Then we got the Broncos falling to the Jacksonville Jaguars. So good delivery there by the Jaguars to halt the Denver Broncos' win streak there. We see very modest games by Bradford. McCoy with 260 yards. DeMarco Murray, 73 yards. Bradshaw not really doing much in this loss. AJ Green, 71 yards. Tavon Austin, the rookie, 70. Both teams are 2-3. Right now the Broncos are tied for their division because their division has a really bad start. So they're still in it, but the Jaguars, they're falling behind in a very tough division. Then you had the Buffalo Bills taking on the Cincinnati Bengals. We see Brock Osweiler playing most of the game and playing poorly, and he's also injured for 4 weeks. So Derek Anderson, who they just signed last week, is going to take on the starting role instead of Christian Ponder, who they acquired from Buffalo in a trade. And then, ignore that notification. And then we have Noshawn Marino with 44 yards, a touchdown. Tim Tebow had a decent game. He really has not played well. but is playing enough to win, and they are 3-2. They're fourth in the division, but they're tied for second because the Jets, Patriots, and Bills are 3-2. And then you have the Miami Dolphins, who are 4-0 at this point. Jacoby Jones with 99 yards receiving and James Hardy with 147 and a touchdown. But the Bengals stay 0-5. John Harbaugh is almost definitely fired. Then you have the Dallas Cowboys versus the Packers. And here we see Russell Wilson with a modest game, but a great game by Peterson with 124 yards, coming away with the victory for Dallas. Matthew Stafford had a fantastic game. We see 3 touchdowns, 321 yards, but just was not enough to overcome the Dallas Cowboys. I'm trying to remember if there's any special teams or defensive plays. No, not really. But what we see is a good running game. Wilson with a running 67 yards rushing and a touchdown. So Dallas is having their best year in many years. Way to go, Mike Shanahan. Then we got the Baltimore Ravens, who were number 1 in the division, and they still are, but they're tied now with Pittsburgh. Colin Kaepernick has 1 touchdown and 2 interceptions. And then Joe Flacco with 2 touchdowns and 220 yards. We see the running game working well for them. 86 yards, 37 and 19. 2 rushing touchdowns for the 2 running backs. Rice with 74 yards. But really, T.Y. Hilton with 131 yards coming through in this game for the Panthers. Then you got the New York Giants coming away with a 4-1 record after defeating the Lions in what was a very close game. I believe this was an overtime game as well. We see Palmer with 334 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception, and 122 yards and 2 TDs for Ryan Matthews. Great game for New York. And then 170 yards by Reggie Bush. He was a cheat code this game. Very strong. Made some dynamic plays. 20 attempts. So clearly I knew what I was doing by keep giving him the rock. Unfortunately, the Lions fall 1-4. And they are in the bottom of the league. And here was a surprising game. I thought that Peyton Manning and the Falcons were going to be giving the Buccaneers more of a fight. But the Tampa Bay Buccaneers keep on sailing, and they're sailing to 5-0. They have, let's see, it was McFadden with 93 yards, Best with 24. He had those 2 carries and a touchdown. Manning struggled, 2-2, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, 271 yards. Normally Le'Veon Bell has had a better game than this, but 46 yards was his best for this week. Jamal Lord with 16 yards and Blunt with 7, and it just was not enough. But Buccaneers defense was for real. Then we got the Rams shocking the 49ers. The 1-3 Rams take on the 3-1 49ers, and it was basically the Rams the entire game. 49ers got like a touchdown and a 2-point conversion, then they got another one. Breeze played modestly, but it was a lot of he had 3 sacks. The defense of the Rams were really all over the 49ers. Good road win for Andrew Luck and the St. Louis Rams. Then we had the Vikings versus the Titans. And although the Titans were undefeated and they lost their win streak last week, Tavares Jackson keeps the Titans in first place in the AFC South. We see 292 yards, 2 touchdowns, and interception. This came through with a late touchdown winning drive. And then Brad Smith. This man is on fire this season. 143, 120, 129, 103. If he's on your fantasy team, he's making you a happy man. We see just a fantastic showing by him. Early, big touchdown pass. And then later, another one. I might show some highlights of that because that was just such a good game. But then you have RG3 with 3 touchdowns, 1 interception, 238 yards. Good game by him, but not good enough. We see Harry Douglas, Baldwin, kind of leading the receiving core for the Vikings. And then you got the Colts going 3-2 in a very competitive AFC South, defeating the Oakland Raiders, who are right now tied for first place in their division because the AFC West is performing really poorly. We got Brady going with 2 touchdowns, 204 yards, but we really see the running game carrying the Colts in this game. 121, 35, and even Cordell Patterson, who is a wide receiver. He's their rookie. Right now, he's very low on the depth chart because you see Garcon, Cruz, Sam, Wayne, and Hankerson, and Patterson's all the way down here, even overall. I've tried to insert Patterson a bit more often because I'm trying to get him more touches as a rookie, but he just, it's hard sometimes because there are so many good receivers on this team. And meanwhile, we see Julio Jones and then Craig Davis coming through for the Oakland Raiders, but just not enough as they suffer a 2-touchdown deficit to lose the game. The Saints go marching on with 3-2 record, and the Kansas City Chiefs fall to 1-4. So Brandon Weeden was up there leading the league in passing. I don't know if he still technically is, or if he's. We'll have to look at the season stats. But he has not been. He won his first game, I believe, and then it's been downhill from there. Kevin O'Connell came in garbage time, which I always thought, do I keep playing Weeden because he's a number one or he's a first round pick? But Kevin O'Connell is a year younger than him, so I have to, or like the same, or younger, or yeah, 1 year younger. And so I might decide to give Kevin O'Connell a start, depending on how bad Weeden continues to play. Richardson, 52 yards, modest. Isaiah Pede, 90, I don't know how he says his name. Mendenhall getting some carries there. Baker. And then Travis Beckham, the tight end, surprisingly. Their third stringer was getting some catches there, including the 2 touchdown passes. Then on Sunday Night Football, we have the Texans versus the Chargers. So Sanchez comes out with 205 yards, 2 touchdowns and an interception, 2 rushing touchdowns and 161 yards by Spiller. Great game for him. Rodgers having a horrible game, 3 interceptions. He had a chance to come back for a game-winning drive and threw an interception. We see Stephen Hill and Hopkins kind of doing their thing for the Texans. But let's just say I thought the Chargers had this one in the bag, but the Texans come away with an ugly victory, but a victory nonetheless. And then this game was crazy. The Chicago Bears upset the Miami Dolphins and take away their undefeated season. This here is the team to beat, the Jim Harbaugh-led Miami Dolphins. Newton had some turnovers, which did not help. We see he still ran more than Forte, but the Chicago Bears came out and just punched him right in the frickin' Dolphin face. We see Jason Campbell with 5 passing TDs, 327 yards. And what happened to this game is that Newton took the team down and scored a touchdown with 1 minute and 2 seconds to go. And the Bears came down and scored with 6 seconds to go and won the game. Also, Darius Hayward-Bay, who was on the Washington Commanders doing absolutely nothing for them, comes through with 147 yards and 3 touchdowns. I think he had his first game last week, and it was kind of a modest game, but he came through big time here on Monday Night Football. So there you have the Week 5. I'm still looking at trading Eli Manning from the Seahawks. I'm debating between the Buffalo Bills, even though they have Manuel, the Ravens, who are tied for their division, and just kind of looking at, is Kaepernick, here if I go to Kaepernick stats, is he the guy that's going to take them to a Super Bowl? I don't know. He's okay. I mean, he's had some good 2 back-to-back decent games with 2 wins against Pittsburgh and against Cleveland. But the division's been pretty bad. He's lost to everybody else. So if they acquire Eli Manning, could Eli Manning ascend the Ravens to being a playoff contender? I may make that trade this week. I was also considering trading Eli Manning to the Texans, but Texans are doing pretty well in their division. So if I go to the standings, I wouldn't go to actually division, yeah. Is that, we got a 3-way tie with the Chiefs only 1 game behind because they're all not doing too well. Any of these 3 teams likely can take it. I believe the Chargers and Broncos are most likely, but Oakland could surprise. You have a tight division there in the East where all 4 of those teams could make the playoffs. I think the Bills are the weakest one, and they're luckily winning. But the North here, it's going to be the Ravens or the Steelers, unless Terrell Pryor puts the Browns back in contention, since they're only behind by 1 game. But again, once Pryor's been hurt, it's been 4-game losing streak. They have not been able to win with Vince Young. So Coach Jim Tressel has some work to do. But the Ravens could decide, is Eli Manning the guy who can take them that next level? Kind of like a Mark Bulger trade they did in my very first season of this franchise that helped take the Ravens to number 1 in the league. Could Eli Manning do that for them here in 2013? And then here we got the Texans, Colts, Titans all fighting for that first place in this AFC South. Titans right now working really well with Tavares Jackson. So we're going to try to keep that magic going for the Titans, and we'll see if the Texans can find ways to squeak out wins with Sanchez. They seriously could go for Eli Manning. I think that would be a good move for them. But if they're winning with Sanchez, they might stick with Sanchez. But as for the NFC, we see the Giants, and then finally the Dallas Cowboys are up there. The Commanders were a playoff team the past few years, but they're not looking at this year. So it looks like Dallas has their chance to make the playoffs or maybe break that 6 season wins that they've had for like the past 7 seasons. Bears are right now looking pretty good with Jason Campbell. They're on their way to the playoffs, and I think their division is weak enough that they can sail all the way. Packers have all the talent in the world, but they just don't come away with it. The South is also contentious. We see 3-2 teams, along with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who are undefeated. And this is a good team because of McFadden. Blaine Gabbert is just a game manager, and that's all he has to be. They do have some very good receivers like Jeremy Maclin, Jerome Simpson, and Josh Gordon, now off of suspension. So they're a team that could contend. And then we have a really weird NFC West because the Seahawks underperforming. We'll see if Glennon can turn their season around. I don't think so. The Rams have the potential with luck, but then it's the 49ers and then surprisingly the Chargers, who I didn't expect to do as well. But as we look at stats, we're going to see the top 5 passers. So Whedon has dropped to 11, so he's not a top passer anymore. So he could be on the chopping block for being replaced. But Palmer, Stafford, Big Ben, Manning, RG3, top 5. We look at touchdowns, it's Campbell and Brady and Big Ben. We look at rushing, we see McFadden leading the league like he did last year. Peterson, Bell, Matthews, and Bush, top 5. And for touchdowns, we see Jonathan Stewart with the Titans pushing that rock over the goal line consistently. Then receiving, Mike Wallace, of course, is just having a crazy year. Calvin Johnson only at 6th. We got Devin Romoshodu, Brad Smith, who has also been lights out, T.Y. Hilton, and A.J. Green. And I'm going to go faster through tackles and sacks. You can pause the screen if you want to take a closer look. And then a quick look at the rankings. We see the Giants, Buccaneers, Colts, Falcons, and Vikings. Top offenses. Top defenses is the Saints, the 49ers, the Bucks, the Jags, and Chargers. Worst teams on offense is the Buffalo Bills, Cardinals, Bengals, Texans, Seahawks, and surprisingly the Chargers, who should be better than that. And then you have defense is the Giants, which is interesting, but the Chiefs, that makes sense. Vikings, Broncos, Lions. And here we go with some highlights from this week. We have the Patriots who took on the New York Jets. And right here, a beautiful play there by Malcolm Kelly, who breaks the tackle. That was a hurdle, and he just gets over the goal line. Brady back to pass again, and we see another pass there to Malcolm Kelly. So 2 for him in this game. Then Alex Smith, he had some highlights here with Percy Harvin making the diving catch there in the end zone. He also decides to punch in a second one right over there. Beautiful throw by Alex Smith, who is, I think, rated the highest quarterback in the league. And he gets the hat trick with 3 passing touchdowns. Patriots down by 14. Brady decides to make it happen with Andre Johnson, who bounces back. And then Alex Smith with a dagger to Lee Evans. And I think that's his first touchdown as a Jet, because he was, I think, with the Chicago Bears for a while. Then he went to the San Diego Chargers. And he's an old man now, but he's a veteran on this Jets team who did get the win. And then the Steelers coming away with some huge plays there. We see Emmanuel Sanders having a field day against the Cleveland Browns. We have Vince Young. We see him rolling around, throwing, but not throwing, running into the end zone, keeping his tippy toes in bounds. And you got Big Ben throwing the ball deep, and there's Sanders again for a big play. So this is classic Cleveland finding a way to lose to the Pittsburgh Steelers. Surprisingly, they had the same record, but I see Pittsburgh having the better chance of winning the division. Good play there by Anthony Gonzalez. As you can see, a big play there, and then he does get the touchdown grab later that drive. And then they have Vince Young throwing again, and there's Gonzalez one more time. Again, they weren't able to come away with the victory there, but still getting that touchdown. Now, defense played a role in this game. As you can see right there, Nick Perry recovers the fumble that Big Ben had, for the touchdown. So great job there by the linebacker, the pass rusher, to get that score. And Pittsburgh also had a defensive score. And right here, I thought I could fit that window, and when I took control of Dwayne Allen, it just didn't work out. And so Dante Whitner, the best safety in the league, Dante Hittner, his nickname, runs in for a touchdown. Then you got the Jacksonville Jaguars with Colt McCoy. And right there you see a good Steve Smith broken tackle. Colt McCoy continuing to play here, and we see a beautiful touchdown grab by Deion Sims. You don't know who he is? That's okay. Most people in the Jaguars, nobody knows. Colt McCoy does run a touchdown. We see here he runs a second touchdown. So Colt McCoy making it happen. And they do go, and I believe they won that game too. Now we have Osweiler taking on the Buffalo Bills, Tim Tebow, and we see why the Bengals are winless. Osweiler gets hit there and throws the pick six to DeJuan Morgan. This is a good game for the Buffalo Bills as they are able to kind of keep their team competitive in what is a very tough division. Right there, it was a touchdown pass to Scheffler. They didn't call a touchdown, but I challenged it, and we got it reversed. Then you see Dallas using their cheat code in Adrian Peterson, their best player, their best offensive weapon. And then there is Russell Wilson doing the read option. Now, Matthew Stafford also had some good plays, even though the Packers lost this game. But Jordan Cameron gets a touchdown there, and Jordan Cameron gets a touchdown here. So we'll go see the Jordan Cameron touchdown. Beautiful play there before the end of the first half, the second quarter. Green Bay was very competitive in this game. We see LeSean McCoy running it in for the touchdown, but it was Dallas who came away with the win. Then you have Joe Flacco making things happen with the Carolina Panthers over the Baltimore Ravens. It was with this game that Baltimore decided that they were going to bring in Eli Manning. The trade is going to be happening for them in this following week. But Joe Flacco, back to pass, he throws deep to Hilton, and T.Y. Hilton gets the burner touchdown. And then you have Donald Brown, who powers his way into the end zone, but not enough for Baltimore. And then Carson Palmer, one of the league-leading receivers, connects with Jimmy Graham over the middle, burning the Detroit Lions. But Ryan Tannehill says, I can do it too, and throws to Mario Manningham, who was a real-life giant, but he's been with... where was he to begin? He wasn't originally with the Lions, but he's bounced around a little bit. But there's Reggie Bush, who is just showing his dominance. Unlike in real life where Reggie Bush was injured, he's been injured in my franchise, but not like he was in real life. And then you can see another run there by Reggie Bush. Ryan Matthews getting in. We see another pass here. Deep throw to Niles Paul. And Niles Paul gets in the end zone. Now, the Giants were down a lot in this game, but they were able to make that comeback. And here we see just a beautiful play there. Double teamed. They take it to overtime, and the overtime is ended with a Ryan Matthews touchdown. So it's a close game. Detroit played really well, but the Giants just played better. Then we got a surprising game here. Falcons versus the Buccaneers. I thought it was going to be a close game, and I thought that the Falcons might have actually been the first loss for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. But I was wrong. I was completely wrong because of shit like that. Right? We see Jerome Simpson getting a beautiful touchdown pass by Blaine Gabbert, making it look easy. Manning trying to fight his way back. Gabbert did get hurt, so that's why Landry Jones is in, but Gabbert's okay. Javid Best running in that last touchdown. Then this was a shocking game because the Rams just destroyed the 49ers. And you can see some of the reasons why. It was really more of the defense of the Rams that just shut me down with Drew Brees. Very late, Drew Brees was able to get something going, but of course, it's fourth quarter and they're down by 24. They did get a 2-point conversion, and they didn't give up. So here we see a huge play, a 96-yard touchdown pass to Des Bryant, which gives them what becomes a 16-24 deficit there. Then we see the Tennessee Titans, who keep on marching on. We've got the Titans with a 3-1 victory going up against the Minnesota Vikings, 2-2. We see that was Jonathan Stewart running it in. And then here we have RG3 running it in for the Minnesota Vikings, trying to keep them competitive in the North. But I've been mentioning Brad Smith. That's why. This QB turned wide receiver is having a hot game since Greg Jennings has been injured. And here he goes again. Look at this play. Beautiful. There's that double coverage, and he just spins around, gets the touchdown. Very pretty. And then RG3 dots Baldwin there. Beautiful touchdown pass. RG3 also throws up to, this is Harry Douglas, their highest overall rated receiver. And then RG3 back to pass, throws it, connects with Baldwin. And so they do take the lead here in the fourth quarter. But Tavares Jackson hands the ball off to Jonathan Stewart, and that pretty much seals the deal for the Titans. Colts versus Raiders. We see Brady Quinn doing it with his leg. And so far, we still have Kirk Cousins on the bench, who is a better quarterback. And we also have, I forget his name. Tyrod Taylor. But Brady Quinn has been the lead man in Indianapolis, and it stays that way. And he's going to show why right here. Dots it for Cruz. It was not ruled a touchdown. After review, it was. And we got Matt Ryan looking to pass, looking to throw, and he connects with Vernon Davis there in the corner. And the Colts hand it off to Chris Johnson, and he is just a living cheat code. So fast. But then you have the Chiefs versus the Saints, and the Saints are pretty, I mean, they're not that good of a team, but they find stuff like that, and you can see Brandon Marshall just burning what is one of the best defensive back cores in the league, because they have like 290, Jonathan Joseph and somebody else who's like 90 plus, but they burn him there. Whedon throws a beautiful pass there. I think that's Keyshawn Martin that received it, but the Saints do win that game. And there we have Devin Hester just using his burning speed and acceleration to get that touchdown. But this was a game that surprised me because the Texans actually came away with the victory over the Chargers because of plays like that. We see Stephen Hill getting that big touchdown before the end of the half. Sanchez trying to take the lead. And also, Rodgers kept throwing interceptions and having issues. And so here's Rodgers trying to tie the game up. And he does with Santonio Holmes, his primary receiver. But then the Texans, after they fail to get the 2-point conversion, powers his way all the way for a touchdown, sealing the deal. Now, this was the game of the week. This Monday Night Football matchup between the undefeated Miami Dolphins versus the Chicago Bears. This is the second game for Darius Haywood-Bay, and he showed up. 3 receiving touchdowns for Darius Haywood-Bay. Very good on him. And this was a very close game. There he is getting the second touchdown. And I think this is his third. Yep. So it's showing that he has 3 touchdowns. There were some good plays by Miami too. But we also got, I think this is Justin Keller's highlight. Yep. So Justin Keller gets in the end zone as well, powering his way through 4 Miami Dolphins. Of course, Cam Newton and Calvin Johnson Jr. I love that play because of that tight window he threw it into. It's just absolutely fantastic. And then we see somehow losing his man. We see Michael Jenkins getting the touchdown there, wide open, but Newton gets it there off of the run. And then another running throw caught by Calvin Johnson Jr. That's how they take the lead near the end. So here they are with 1:05, down by 3. Matt Forte powers his way into the end zone, taking the lead with 1:02. Bears have 2 timeouts. I thought about, do they knee it? Do they try to kill some clock? But they just wanted to score and take the win. But this is the closing drive for the Bears that we're seeing is, can Jason Campbell come away with it? And there you see, that got the run. You got the Justin Keller pass. Then with 22 seconds left, looking to throw, throws it up to Royal. And he gets within the 9-yard line. They use a timeout. Campbell looks to throw, throws in the corner, and throws it too high. With 10 seconds left, 9, 8, 7, Easy touchdown pass there to Royal, and the Chicago Bears defeat the undefeated Miami Dolphins. Way to go for Jason Campbell and company. Great game, and that finishes our highlights for this week. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. But I will say Eli Manning will be a Baltimore Raven next week. Here you can see the trade that took place and the compensation for the highly overall rated quarterback, but the underperforming quarterback.